Alright, hello everyone, it's Mr. Punkwest from Heavy Mo Bound, and today I got a bone to pick with what I can only describe as my white whale for COD multiplayer. Something I've been consistently complaining about since we started making high content again back in 2020, and personally complaining about since at least 2017. But real quick, before I get to that, and in honor of this being an empty rant on old school game mode, I want to talk about the gameplay a little. So this is a beta BO6 gameplay where I go 45-5 on Skyline, using mostly the XM4. I go on a 20 kill streak, which is honestly unreal for me, especially during a beta. So because of that, and the fact that I want to show off the whole gameplay without a lot of cutting, I'm going to be rambling quite a bit this commentary. So keep that in mind as I rant about a mode that's done honestly nothing but raise me ever since I started playing the series. And I'm not kidding about that last part. Up until probably Modern Warfare 3 2011, I would rarely step foot out of this one single game mode unless forced to while partied up. And that game mode was TDM. It really was just the best arena for that burgeoning COD player that was 2010 to 2012 Punkwest. And I don't think I'm alone in this. TDM is almost always in every mosh pit playlist. It's the only consistently populated mode in the entries past their prime. And overall, it's just considered the default mode when talking about PvP. Pretty much every game has a deathmatch mode. Even games not necessarily built for it, like Battle Royales or team/tactical shooters, have either launched with the mode or brought it in over time. And I think that's for a really good reason. It's the perfect casual game mode, the Jim Belushi game mode, one might say. It's low risk, meaning you're probably not going to get shit on too bad when playing it if you're brand new, though nowadays your mileage may vary on that. But it's also high reward in the knowledge gained about whatever game you're playing, whether that be how weapons/recoil act, how maps flow, or how abilities are used in real scenarios that a firing range or tutorial just can't teach you. Like sure, knowing that ability A can block damage is great, right until you get into a real match when some fuckers put ability A on a moving objective that lets them insta-win. But that's beside the point. I told you this was going to be rambly. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is that there's a reason why I was able to pretty consistently play TDM throughout my formative COD years, and also a bigger reason why I slowly started actually improving the more I moved away from it. Like I mentioned, TDM provides a sort of live fire yet still casual way to learn the game, with no objectives to worry about and the entire mode basically hinging on one team having one or more significantly better plays. But it also creates lethargy in gameplay. If the game isn't requiring you to move, why should you? And I think that mindset, along with the mode with easily the most amount of new players, may have been sad to be fair, but I think it's reasonable to believe that, led to TDM being the quote canary in the coal mine for what would happen to COD in the preceding years post jetpack. Even during that era, I distinctly remember matches throughout all 3 advanced movement games that devolved into what I can only call revolutionary warfare. Basically 1 to 2 players controlling the power positions of a map, and the other team having to try and snipe them off of it from 10 miles away. Did the jetpack movement/specialist in BO3 and IW help with that? Absolutely, but this total denial of the entire point of these entries really made the choice easy when I decided to switch a kill confirmed and hardpoint, or war in AW's case, full time. And that also came with another bonus. The bonus of experiencing different playstyles. You really only meet 1 to 2 types of people in TDM, and it basically boils down to slow slayer or actual slayer. In objective game modes you still have the slayer obviously, but you also have objective players who risk their entire KD for the W, or people who are expert at reading spawns and always know how the map, and by extension the match, flows. Playing against these people opens up a whole new way to think about COD. On paper, of course, we are still talking about pubs here, that you'll just never experience if you stick to TDM. And I think being forced to play with these types of people really did help me improve at the series much faster than if I were still playing TDM 14 years later. And I mean, obviously, if I was calling TDM the starter game mode, then of course once I left it, I would see improvements over time. But why would that make me retroactively want to get rid of the mode now? Well, first off, of course, because I don't want to get rid of it, but also because at this point, I don't think it teaches as well as it used to. I'd even go as far to say as I think it's been surpassed when it comes to deathmatch modes. So if it's not teaching and it's not fun anymore, what's the point? And to be fair, surpassed may have been strong wording, since of course any deathmatch focused mode made after the year 2000 will surpass it. But in regards to making an actual fun deathmatch experience, 2 other modes in my mind stomp TDM. One of them is obviously Kill Confirmed. Added in Modern Warfare 3 2011, this game mode made the extremely simple change of having the objective tied to a drop after a kill instead of just a kill. And who'd have thunk, but it worked great. Obviously this is omega anecdotal, but even adding something as simple as touch this thing to score while still being focused on slaying instantly makes it more playable, while keeping the casual feel of the mode alive. This is kind of a bonus point, but it also made a really easy jumping off point from TDM for people trying to take their first steps out of that mode. The second game mode, however, takes the concept of TDM but better to levels Kill Confirm could only dream of. Get your bingo cards ready, because of course I'm talking about Crank. I've made it no secret on this channel how much I love Crank. To me, it checks all the boxes for what makes a fun, non-objective game mode. Like Kill Confirmed or TDM, it's all about slaying, but the change mechanics do a great job of requiring you to move around, / not stay in one place too long. And I mean, it does it so effortlessly. Like if you give me super speed and faster gun up time, of course I'm going to want to run around more. And that increased speed, plus having a big blinking timer on your screen the whole game, might make you take some challenges that you wouldn't necessarily take in other game modes, which perfectly adds to the frenetic fast pace of the mode as well. Plus the increased speed / bonus perks you can earn work in every form of COD, from slow methodical IW to balls to the wall trare. In my opinion, Cranked is genuinely deathmatch as a mode perfected. So all I'm really trying to say with this commentary is, if we have all these great alternatives at this point, why are we still stuck playing TDM every time a beta rolls around? I don't know about you, random viewer, but at this point in my COD career, the only time I'm playing TDM is during betas or when it randomly pops up in mosh pits, aka only playing it when I'm forced to. And even then it's still too much. It's just not the way I want to experience a new COD / mode, which actually brings me to the real point of this commentary. To be completely clear, I never wanted to get rid of TDM completely. Keep the game mode in the series until the end of time. I am totally fine with that. In fact, I prefer that. But I would love to see it add a gimmick mosh pit playlist, and especially betas. If TDM is COD's resident tutorial playlist, then having it in betas feels extremely redundant to me. Another may have been stat here, but I'm willing to bet that only an extremely small faction of the player base of a beta, closed, open, or otherwise, are not familiar with how COD plays. And for the record, I'd love to be proven wrong about this. Getting a neat little graph about the average player base of a COD beta would make this entire useless commentary 100% worth it. And even in the event that I am wrong, I still don't see a point in bringing TDM in its current state to the forefront during the time when arguably the most eyes are on a COD, whether that be diehards like myself, people returning after a break from the series, or brand new players to the series. The only thing current TDM will remind them of is either why they left the game in the first place or a good reason not to join. But either way, getting back on topic, no matter how much I cry out that each COD is distinct, if you really boil them down, no matter what was added from specialists to jetpacks to omni movement, it's still a pretty easy shooter to understand and thrive in. It just feels like a waste loading into TDM every beta, knowing that a better version is out there waiting to be used and welcomed by all from vet to noob. And for the record, I'm not saying that they don't add kill confirmed to betas, I'm just saying keeping kill confirmed and leaving out TDM is the way to go here in my opinion. And honestly, I even understand if cranked is too radical for a default game mode. I mean, it would be pretty hard to learn the vibes of a new COD if you had super speed every 2 kills, but at least swapping TDM with kill confirmed full time would go so far in making non-objective game modes palatable again during betas. Overall, I think a lot of players / devs probably think that TDM has a sort of magic to it as a game mode. That makes it a requirement for all betas into eternity. But personally, I think we've progressed past the need for TDM and betas at all. You know what's magic about TDM? It magically puts 8 to 12 players in a map together. The game modes are slaying, but as a community, we've evolved. Gotten better headsets, learned spawns, meta weapons, and recoil patterns. So instead of dragging out this tired, boring game mode every year, let's take our first steps as super evolved COD players to declare loudly in one voice, TDM, we'll see you when we see you, which will most likely be at launch or 5 years from now when it's the only populated playlist. And yes, this whole commentary was created partially for this one reference / joke. Anyway, so this is Mr. Punkwas from Heavy Ammo Bound, signing out. I will see you next time.